looking at the way different people in The Last of Us deal with stressful situations, and you can think about which personality type you most identify at the same time.
There's gonna be a little tickle right here.
When people are in these kind of positions where they have to make very difficult decisions all the time, they can become jaded or callous. We sometimes close ourselves off to being able to feel because it's just so horrible to have to make life and death decisions all the time, especially with people that we may see as vulnerable or weak, or especially in his case, really sympathetic. And so we sometimes wall off our emotions. We kind of sandbox them so that we can continue to do the job that we have to do. But you can see from her micro expressions that it's still something that she feels. She's saddened by the fact that his results are that he's positive, and that means that he's infected. She still cares about doing the job, and she's going to do what she has to do, even though it still causes her harm.
We don't want you falling out of the chair. What's your name?
I love the way in which the Fedra agent really speaks as if she's on the same level as the little boy. She kneels down so that she's eye to eye, which makes people feel more comfortable. If she was standing over him, it would be much more imposing and perhaps he'd be scared. And you can tell that she doesn't want him to feel frightened or intimidated. She wants him to feel safe.
Are you alone? And,
how did you get this?
And you can hear her tone. So even though she's a Fedra agent, and probably when she's in positions of power, she might have to speak to people that are underneath her with more authority, she knows that if she scares him or frightens him or intimidates him, there's a greater chance that he's not going to give answers, or he might give answers that are not true, inaccurate, because when we're scared and under stress, sometimes we're just going to say the first thing that comes to our mind, or the thing that's going to be able to stop the stress from happening anymore. And so that's why often when we're being intimidated, there's actually less of a chance that we're going to give that unfiltered, really honest answer. So she does a good job at making him feel safe enough that at least he can nod his answers to her.
what if I told you that after we gave you some medicine, we're gonna find you your favorite food to eat? Would you like that? And toys, as many as you want to play with.
And all of these things, she doesn't actually have to do this. She could just have them inject him and then this is over with. But she actually cares that the way that he passes, he's happy and relaxed and feels comfortable. Probably one, so that it's not as traumatic for her, but it really seems like she cares that it's also he's in a good, happy place and that he's not stressed and upset before he has to go. So she lies to him, which a lot of people would be like, well, you know what? Honesty is always the best case, but what would have that caused? The end result would just be someone that's really scared and upset, and no good would have come of it. And so she tries to make this as peaceful of an experience as possible. I think that for a lot of people, when they do these jobs that you have to sometimes do something that other people would say is abhorrent, you get a lot of flack from people like, how could you do this? This is so horrible. I wouldn't be able to do what you're doing. And it's easier for us emotionally to kind of put that distance of I could never, because then we don't have to wrangle with all of those thoughts of if I am placed in this position, what would I end up doing? This makes her own job a little bit more palatable. She handles this horrible, stressful situation in a really beautiful way, as beautiful as she can with the mandate that she has to carry out. You might even say that, you know what, she's just doing this because it makes her job easier and she's doing this as a calculated, cold, systematic kind of way. But that micro expression that she gave off, that little pained look that the answer was positive, actually shows that she had some feeling behind it. And she also wouldn't have to hold his hand. Why even make that form of contact with someone else? She wouldn't have to make that emotional connection that definitely also hurts her.
You're safe.
And I love that she said to him that you're safe. I think that for a lot of people, it's really hard to be there when someone dies or passes, whichever word is easiest for you to deal with. And so she stays with him through the process. Her job is actually done. She's gone through all of her protocol. They've made the decision he's going to die whether she's with him or not, but she chose to stay, and she chose to make physical contact with someone that's infected. And that also is a really big deal, because a lot of people, when someone has a illness or disease that's misunderstood or is scary to people, people don't want to touch that person. And touch actually lowers our levels of cortisol, makes us feel safer and more calm. It goes a lot to show how much compassion she has.
What do you want me to say, Tess?
I'm not asking you to say anything.
Sure.
I love Tess. She has this really quiet leadership quality, that calm under pressure, but it isn't just calm. She's really, really controlled. Everything that she does and says is calculated, but you can tell that she believes in herself. She kind of reminds me of a much more calm Queen Maeve kind of atmosphere.
It's not like I planned on ripping you off. I'm sorry.
You see the little tiny nod, right? She lost a little bit of composure when he's saying it's not like I planned on ripping you off. She knows that that's a lie, and she's not gonna go and just buy that with nothing. Letting her inner emotions that she knows she has to control in this situation kind of come out.
Well, how about we just let it go? What else are you gonna do? You gonna keep me here? Kill me?
Tess, come on.
It's also impressive, Tess's body language under this situation. She's leaning kind of forward, like she's kind of thinking about everything. She's not that upset. She's not that aggressive. She's not that worried about this situation. And she runs through all of the different scenarios and how they can end up in such a laissez-faire way that, you know what? None of it really matters. I'm not that upset about this, which lowers Robert's stress level. And you can already tell that Robert is more anxious. He's indecisive. He doesn't know what he's going to do. And Tess has this understanding of the situation that if she is aggressive or stressed or tries to antagonize the situation, it can go really bad really fast.
Then Robert, what do you want?
I want you to forget this ever happened.
Done.
Don't do that.
What? It's just a truck battery.
She opens up like she has nothing to hide. It's not what we would do under stress if we're feeling attacked. We would close ourselves up. We would not square off to someone. We wouldn't open up all of our vital organs to be able to be attacked. And so by doing this kind of opening and relaxing of her body, she's saying that she has nothing to hide, that there isn't any risk in him accepting her offer.
It's just a truck battery. Paid you for it, you sold it to someone else, and you spend my money. I mean, you think I've never done like that?
She does such a great job at not only controlling her own body language, but also reading the situation that's in front of her. She normalizes what he did. Like, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. We all do that. And by normalizing the situation, she's saying, well, this is the reason. Because Robert's worried about repercussions and her being upset, she's normalizing it, saying that everyone does this. And if everyone does it, it's not really that big of a deal. And also you can tell by her voice tone. It's really, really even. There's no leveling of inflection up, which causes stress, or down, which means that we're angry. She's really relaxed, and it's a lower octave, which we do when we're feeling really calm.
My guys f***ed you up.
Yeah, so discipline them. You cut off her finger or whatever the you want. I don't care, they're your guys.
She's trying to let him know that she's already done with this situation and has moved on, and so can he.
What about your guy? Because when he sees you, I mean, put yourself in my shoes.
Like, he answers to me, so I give you my word that he won't hurt you.
But you can see that when she says, I give you my word that he won't hurt you, her head's tilting no, which means, yeah, when I have a chance, he is definitely gonna hurt you. She looks him directly in the eye so that he can really absorb it. Because when you're feeling anxious, which Robert is, he's not really thinking. He needs these commands to give him direction. And that's what she's doing. She's controlling the situation.
I'll tell him that I got jumped by some guys, and then you and I can just move the on.
She says it to him so it sounds like he has a say, but he doesn't really. She's giving him the game plan, the way that she wants it to go forward.
Now your has pretty much ruined my week. And I'd like to go home and drink till my face stops hurting. So are we good?
She's taken this really difficult situation, and because she has so much emotional resilience, she's able to kind of sail through without even letting any of her feelings of animosity or anger be able to really show. Plus, when people have dealt with a lot of horrible situations, their threshold for feeling anxious or angry often goes down because you've just dealt with so much stuff that this doesn't really register. Of course, if you've gone through very strong emotional situations, and depending on your own personality type, that can change. And it can actually become the opposite. You can become more anxious and more reactive because you've gone through so much. Your body is kind of on high alert, which in very dangerous situations can actually help prepare you, not be a detriment. So anxiety is actually a really good thing when you're in difficult situations because it gets you revved up and be able to act much sooner than other people. You don't want to be too calm, because if you're too calm, by the time that the action has happened, it's already passed and you haven't done the things that you have to do. So people that lean more towards being anxious or angry, actually in dangerous situations, their reaction time is usually much faster.
I was in federal lockup all day. I need you to take a breath.
What?
Joe?
What?
Tess is so good at being able to read other people's body language, but also understanding that social dynamics of what is the interplay between people's emotions and their reactions to it. And she can tell that what she's going to say is going to make Joel really, really upset. Maybe so upset that he's not going to be able to control himself and do something horrible, do something that could endanger the both of them or endanger what they're trying to get done. She's talking to him in a really kind of calm but commanding way and asking him to breathe because what she's going to say is going to be something really big.
The guys who jumped me were with Robert. He sold our battery to someone else. Nothing's lost.
I need the battery, Tess. Truck's no good without one, and if I don't get to Tommy soon, he's gonna die out there.
You can tell when someone's getting agitated because they start to have those cycling thoughts and his words are starting to get faster. He has to kind of walk it off because he can tell that that adrenaline needs to kind of burn through him.
Listen, Robert is terrified of you. So you march out of here all Clint Eastwood, he's gonna get wind of it and skip. I need you to take a breath.
Asking him to pause, to be able to think before he acts, works really well, actually. Even if you pause 10 seconds before you do an action, often we can stop really horrible things from happening. And that's why if you're feeling really upset or agitated, do not call, do not text, do not talk to someone, just wait. Because most emotional reactions only last 40 seconds. So if you allow yourself to pause, that adrenaline dump will slowly burn away. It's usually that cycling of thoughts that are going through your mind over and over again that then keep on feeding that anger or anxiety. So if you can control what your thoughts are, you can also help control your actions.
Who'd he sell it to?
Don't know.
Well, where is he?
Don't know.
And she waits. I think that this is really hard for people to be able to wait, to be able to have someone else make sure that they're there. When someone's really angry or upset, they're kind of like deer in headlights. Like they're really angry and you can tell that they're not able to focus and pay attention to what you're saying. And so she waits until he comes back to her to be able to have more of a conversation. And now his voice is more calm and coherent.
No, I promised Robert that you wouldn't hurt him. But I would very much like for you to hurt him. So let's go hunt that down.
When you're being told what to do and you're feeling really upset and angry, having those clear commands helps us be able to get through really difficult situations. And because she's calm about it, we feel more safe that they've actually analytically gone through it. If we're talking really quickly, if we're kind of all over the place and cycling through thoughts, we feel less safe to be able to take that person's plan, that it's thought out. We actually can unconsciously tell that that's more of a limbic, a primal part of our brain that's created this plan because it's everywhere, versus a cognitive plan, which is usually thought out. It usually has reasonings and it has a why and a path forward. And good leaders are able to give plans of action that are clear, concise, and given in a way that other people can hear it. She's really good at social engineering. It's that social manipulation of being able to control people, which you can use for good and use for bad. And good leaders are also really good at social engineering. I love Ellie. She's younger. She doesn't have that need for emotional control. She doesn't even see the use of it. She has this obstinate rebelliousness of, you know what? I don't really need you. I don't even care. I'm going to kick this ahead of you. I don't care what you're going to do to me. Because she's younger, she hasn't really gotten that part of her brain to fully develop. It's developed, but just not fully developed. That prefrontal cortex that deals with consequences to actions that maybe if she upsets her captors, maybe they're going to do something worse to her. But also don't think that she really cares what they do to her and not. She's just so frustrated at being stuck and tied up. And when you're feeling trapped, we all react in really different ways. And her way is to fight.
Hey, people are gonna come looking for me. Let me out or you're gonna pay. I'm not supposed to be here!
So the way that Ellie deals with feelings of stress when she no longer has control of a situation is by being aggressive, letting her emotions just flow out. She wants to be able to fight her way out. Unfortunately, though, especially in this situation, it's not always the most effective of skills. And for her, she's expending a lot of energy trying to force her way out of a situation that you can't force. Whereas Tess kind of developed these skills of being able to assess a situation really quickly and be able to form alliances with people so that they actually want to help you.
You're not scared.
I think that Marlene is a little bit of the Fedra agent, that warmth and that kind of, she leads in a very compassionate way, but very sure of herself, and a little bit of Tess's calculated understanding of social dynamics. Because when she sat down, she wasn't even keeping her eye on Ellie, which when you take your eyes and don't even look at someone, which works really well if you're dealing even with animals, we don't look at them. It's saying that we're not even worried about the fact that you might attack us. And for Ellie, she's just scrambled to be able to get her knife and open it up, which is clearly a threat. But Marlene is able to understand the fastest way to be able to gain her trust is to be able to show trust to her first.
Unauthorized exit. We'll hang you for that.
Whoa, whoa! We can fix this.
And Joel reacts. Tess is kind of off on the side. She's more cool and calculated. She's great at making plans, but Joel's skill is being able to act quickly under pressure, which is definitely a skill during the zombie apocalypse. He gets in front of Ellie to keep her safe, even though he doesn't even know her.
Move.
I think that they also did a really great job of portraying what happens with post-traumatic stress. He's getting a flashback. His hearing has become kind of echoey. His vision is blurred, and he's reliving an experience that is similar to this. And that's what happens. When we've gone through something really horrible, we've often played this over in our head over and over again to kind of prepare our body if it ever happens again. What do we wish that we had done? We go through these scenarios because if it ever happens again, then we will do something different, especially if we regret it. And this situation is so similar. They replay the lighting. It's also at night. The weather's really bad. And that makes the perfect scenario to be able to have your body mimic what you have replayed in your head of what you wished had happened instead of what had happened. And so for Joel, right away, he reacts because this is what he wished that he had done. And when we go through painful situations that have caused us this post-traumatic stress, they come back to us all the time. And so often we can end up reacting in a way that is much more explosive than you would have expected. Because for him, he's back with Sarah. And you see the reaction of horror on Ellie's face, this anger, the amount of anger and vitriol to someone that's already been subdued, Joel is projecting all of his anger at the person that killed his daughter upon this officer that they had a kind of amicable-ish relationship with. He's not even there in that time of space. He's making someone else pay the price for what happened to his daughter and the loss that he felt. We often do that when we're really angry and a situation is similar. We kind of supplant one situation on the other to be able to let out some of that anger and animosity that's been living inside of us for so long. It actually feels good to be able to pay something back. You can tell that all that adrenaline's playing through his system because you hear how heavy he's breathing, how fast his heart is beating, but also you can tell that he wasn't really there because when he looks back, he's looking back with this look of bewilderment of, wait a second, what's just happened? When we're in really stressful situations, we can kind of black out, not really know time and space where things are until our adrenaline comes back. When it lowers, we are kind of brought back to the situation of where am I right now in comparison to what I was living, that past experience that I was still living through. So if you're wondering why I didn't cover every single scene, I kind of picked some of my favorites, but also I left out some of the ones that are from the video game that I've already covered, so you can click those if you want to check them out. And if I missed your favorite scene from this wonderful episode, let me know in the comments below. Want to prepare yourself to live through the zombie apocalypse? Well, start learning those skills now. And you'll need to because there's no internet. So start learning now with Brilliant, where you can gain an understanding of the basics of computer science, physics, quantum mechanics, game theory, and everything you need to get prepared to be The Last of Us. Brilliant is an amazing tool for learning STEM interactively. So if you want to learn more about science, technology, engineering, mathematics, check out Brilliant's ever-growing catalog of courses, which are specifically crafted to help you learn concepts by working through them yourself in visual, hands-on ways. And all these lessons are presented in bite-sized pieces, so you can learn at your own pace. No pressure, and if you ever feel stuck, Brilliant has in-depth explanations to help you break down the material even more. Like their course on logic that I did, which I really enjoyed because it had these challenging problems that helped you construct those critical thinking skills that are the basics for mathematical reasoning. And you got to see these concepts visually, where you could look through them, work through them in a way that's more hands-on, which definitely helps me learn better and faster. To get started for free, visit brilliant.org/Georgia Dow or click on the link in the description. The first 200 people will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. So just click on the button on the screen or head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow. Clicking on that button really does help out this channel, so thank you so much. And so does clicking on the playlist above for more videos on the psychology of your favorite characters.